Hey everyone, Jedi here. We got another Dragonheir video. Before we get into this, please check out the description. Check those links out for me. Really appreciate your support. Now for today's video, what I want to get into is I just finished the main story, which by the way, if you haven't played the story in this game, it's actually really good for those of you trying to check it out. They do fully voice acting in the first couple acts. The last act is not voice acted yet. I'm imagining in season 2 it will be. Season 0, it was kind of the same thing. We had a little bit of voice acting in the beginning, and then it fell off because you could tell it was something they were working on. So still something pretty good to check out. Now getting into it, there's a lot of content in here now, and there's more content than there was during season 0. So for beginners, if we go into the maps, Tenebria, this is the last map, which I just finished beating. It's actually a pretty large map. There's quite to do, especially story-wise, and figuring out, like, finding stuff, doing your little missions and stuff throughout is really good. It all accumulates to this final boss fight. The boss fight in here was actually really good. I really enjoyed it, and it does look like we're going to get to fight it weekly, as well as the dragons. Now I really like this because in the shop, at first I was a little worried about being able to get enough to make the Bard's Banquet shop worth it, but now with the new dungeon we're going to be getting extra Bard scrolls, so this might actually be fairly worth it as far as being able to get this stuff. My biggest issue is going to be the Master Scroll only being able to get one a week, as where before farming the dragons, sometimes you could get one from each dragon and you could get 2 a week. Of course, sometimes you didn't get any, but still, it was seemed like you could get more. Like you had more chance during season 0 than you have now. But hopefully, that's something they can change. Add another one in there or something. Now, going into the content overall, we'll go through all the dungeons that are unlocked right now. There's quite a bit. We have, of course, Goblin Lair 1, 2, and 3. We have our Frost, Tempest, and Flame domains for leveling up our champions. Grave of Venom, Curse, and Rot. Heretical Ruins, Ancient Battlefields. Overall, this game has a lot of dungeons, so for those of us who are playing, we probably, after you start playing for a while, you get a little underwhelmed because you start thinking there's not that much, but when you compare this to other games starting out, there's quite a bit of dungeons to be pushing, and it's pretty cool. And then we have challenges. Through these challenges, we have our weekly stuff. So we got the green dragon, the purple dragon. We have the new boss, the corrupted queen, which is really fun. Our Outlands rifts, and then our daily temporal vortex. I will say the new changes to temporal vortex in season 1, it's way better than season 0. It's something I actually like to push daily, not just for the rewards, but it's fun to try to see how high you can get up and how you stack up to other people playing the game. So quite a bit as far as dungeon content is going on right now. And then we have upcoming events. So, and then of course there's a PvP. Now, personally, I will say for PvP, I'm not a huge fan. There's Gladiator Arena and then the 3-team challenges. For me, the 3v3 is just an extended version of Gladiator Arena, which I'm already not a huge fan of. Reason being is when you come in here and do battles, you can't even control your people, which I know I've showed this a million times, but to show it off again, you just start the battle and you're just watching. You can't control any of your moves. It's just a matter of who gets their stuff off and who's better geared. The problem with this setup is that you'll have some arena teams that are nothing but healers and defensive units, and then they're very hard to kill, and then your battle will drag out forever to either accumulate in a draw, or it'll just take you forever to beat the enemy team, which is, to me, it's just a waste of my time. I don't like when I feel like games aren't respecting my time anymore, and whenever you start getting to where players can just stack up massive defensive teams to run the clock down, it's starting to feel like the game's not respecting the time for the player, and I'm not a big fan of that. They do have, like, this was a decent battle. We had decent time. They didn't stack their team up with overwhelming defensive units, so whoever that is, Freya's, yeah, I like that you actually do a normal team in there, because I try to do in mine. There's a lot of healers, but they're manageable. But I hate whenever it's just teams that are nothing but healers and defensive units and you just can't break through them. It gets annoying. So I'm not a huge fan of PvP, but that is part of the content. Then we have Fay Wilds here, which I need to do my daily for this one, but each day it's unlocking a few more stages. That's really fun to grind up. And then when we get into here, we have the Pillar of Trials. This has been really fun for me lately, which is building 3 different teams. This should, once you all finish the main story, this will be your goal, is you want to build 3 solid teams, and you want to be pushing this because this is what's going to be testing your teams to see if they're prepared for the next phase of things. For those of you who played Season 0, you'll know what's going to happen next is we have basically a month to prepare, and then Outer World Exploration begins. And in Outer World Exploration, you need a good, like, at least 3, but you probably need closer to 6 teams built up. And then this is kind of where you can test those teams out because you're going to want to be doing affinity teams when that comes out. As the way the setup is, which you guys will see, you benefit greatly from using affinity teams in there. So right now, this is good because you can build those teams, push it, and you also get a few rewards in there. I just got the Epic Hero. I still haven't tried it out from this content. And then, so just overall, there's lots of content. And now talking about the events coming up, I may have made a mistake in doing my pull videos earlier, but I do enjoy that the pulls I got came out really good. But I was just going through this Imperial Shadow recast and was trying to like figure out what's going to be going on with this, how it's going to work. I'm going through the event rules. This looks like it's going to be maybe similar to like a raid style fusion. We're going to have shadow dungeons where it says you'll challenge different dungeons to get points. I have a feeling that this is going to be the dungeons we already have, but it's going to be like challenge this dungeon to get your points. Then there's going to be summoning, using your shards to get some of the amethyst. And then there's going to be this continental challenge for fighting various bosses. This one is what I'm not too sure on. I know, so during Season 0, when we unlocked the Otherworld lands, there was random bosses around the map that you can fight, and it kind of sounds similar to that, where you would go up and it would be a boss, and then you would have an affinity challenge, or that boss would be weak to certain affinities, and you would try to hit them with your teams. So I don't know if bosses are going to pop up, if we have new events for that, or if this is going to be going into dungeons and fighting certain bosses at once, but it kind of sounds like it's going to be bosses around the map, so hopefully that's it. And then we're going to go in the shop to spend them. So make sure you guys are preparing for this event as well. It looks like maybe every season, hopefully it'll be a different champion that they're going to give us. I'm not sure how much he's going to cost, so I'm not sure if we're going to be required to do everything. So I don't know if we need to do Shadow Dungeon, Summon, and the challenge. I'm hoping that we can get it off of the challenges and not include summons. If it includes summons, it's going to be harder for free-to-play people to be getting this. Not a huge fan of that, but we'll see how that goes. So anyways, guys, that's kind of it as a quick review of all the content that we have going on. I really like where this game is headed. Make sure you guys are preparing your teams for the second phase of the game. Or really, the second phase of the game is going to be nothing but preparing teams. For my server, in 2 days, we are going to be getting our legendary forge drop rate increase. I've been hoarding up all my bread for that, so that way I can farm a ton of the dungeons and get my gear going, and then hopefully get these events knocked out. We'll see how it goes. That's all I have for y'all. Y'all have a good one.